And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime. It is Monday night, the 12th of April. We are back for a double game week of Salt. We have a couple of L's to discuss and just an absolutely crushing injury to discuss as well with DJ going down in that Perth game. Just brutal stuff. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the losses against Perth and Southeast Melbourne. And if you're out there, remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're live right now on Facebook, so come along and watch us live. And we'll also put these up on YouTube and on audio platforms too. So Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. I'm getting better at it. I'm almost getting those out.
It's a lot to do.
But so like, share, and subscribe. Should we just get straight into just blowing up Salty? I was getting pretty salty in the pre-show. Pre-show.
There's a bit of
green
salt
room.
to be had. I think we just talk about the DJ injury first.
Man. Oh,
just is it curtains for this season?
This season for us.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty.
Curtains? It's getting pretty. We're getting pretty thin on the offensive line. We're really down with injuries. No Glover, no Cooks. There's no real time frame for Cooks. I don't think Glover's back this year. I don't think. Well, DJ's obviously out for 12 months, so he's out pretty much next year as well.
Yeah.
Brutal. It's bad.
Yeah, it hurts. It really it wasn't a season that we expected to descend into this kind of injury ravaged, adversity plagued season. We were always kind of, I've sort of went back and had a quick listen to some of our older content just to see what we had said pre-season. And we were sort of still a bit like, I don't know about this team. It's a little bit, but once DJ sort of sprang to life at the start of the season, you saw what he was about, his ability to score the ball and, really fit in this team. You're like, something to get excited about. He's a great young talent. I definitely think he was playing at a rookie of the year type of level. And then for him to go down with a 12-month injury, man, it's just brutal, man. Absolutely gutting.
Statistics that come out of an Achilles rupture is that 60% of players don't play 3 years past an Achilles rupture. So it's the statistics that are pretty brutal out of that, especially in basketball players, is that it is really kind of a potentially career-limiting injury. And that's really sad because I think DJ was on the up and up, and there was definitely a couple of years to kind of get his head around in the NBL and then potentially head over for a Summer League and G League contract. I think it was in his DNA, and we may not see that for a little while now. So hopefully he recovers well and all the best. And but that it leaves a big, I think, unattainable hole in this team. I think without Cooks, without Glover, with the lack of pool talent to replace DJ, I think is the other thing as well, is that who do we call upon? Is there any talent out in the ether that we can get a rookie or a young guy? I know Lachlan Hutchinson got the gig in terms of a replacement. I think he's a Cronulla local actually, or a Southern Shire local. That's not the caliber of what DJ brought to the team. So it's tough. It's going to be tough to bring it home and sneak into that fourth spot. I think there's definitely going to be some table widening in the next few rounds. It doesn't help, and this is where the salt will begin, that the standard of reffing in this league is beyond effing atrocious. Like, it's to the point now where it's comical. It's just these people need to be someone needs to be accountable. They need to lose their jobs. I mean, if it's fitness, if it's that they need to be 6 foot instead of 4'3", I don't know, man. They all look 4'3". It looks like they're being reffed by gnomes on the court. I don't know. Maybe they need some guys don't have short man syndrome and just trying to put it over people with height. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. So to tie it into kind of what we're talking about, it's a 2-game homestand. You think, we're home, we've got another chance to bounce back against Perth. You're thinking, yeah, okay, we're at home, comfortable position to be in, and then, we've got to play through just another, you're going to get nothing at home. Like, nobody's getting anything. You're not getting any, not good calls to go your way. You're not getting any, massaging or anything. Like no game really needs to be, massage the home team, but at least like give us some calls, man.
I don't even
Something
think
like
it's massage the home team. I mean, Perth definitely gets massaged at home. We've seen that now, and that's it. But could this be retaliation for what 40's comments? Really just blowing that whole kind of refereeing scandal wide open? Is that they ref based on reputation and not understanding the flow of the game and what's happening in the game. It's funny some nights that when you watch them back on replay, they're not watching anything. Like this guy's watching over there, and no one's actually watching the play. Their head's in space. I don't know. It's a bizarre level, maybe because they're amateur and they're not professional. They're not playing. They're not doing 82 games a year. You look at the refereeing in the NBA, and there's bad calls, but it's good. Most of the time, it's like, oh yeah, that's solid. That's pretty good. Maybe some players get a few more calls than others, but they a bit craftier and it's a high level. But we'll look at that.
There's kind of like a game dialogue, like not necessarily a verbal dialogue between the refs and the players, but like the game has a dialogue to it. Like the refs might make some bad calls. We might try and bend the rules a little bit and play tough, and then we just seem to not get any love at all. Like it's like, you're gonna play tough, or we're just gonna call fouls on you. It's just like, how, like we got like 5 injuries, man. Like how else, like we're lacking talent. How else are we meant to kind of get back into games other than to kind of play hard and play tough? And I mean, would you say we're a dirty team? I haven't watched our team and gone, yeah, we're a bit dirty. Like we've got some dirty players. Like I would say we've got a tough team that plays hard.
I would definitely say Perth is the good. Mitch Norton's bloody elbow screens are pretty feral. They're pretty feral, man.
So quickly, we'll quickly talk about the video that we did, because it kind of leads into this Perth game. But I was just watching the highlights against Perth, and I saw like it was Mooney enter the paint, and the guy's given 3 seconds. Like he's looking at the play, he starts the 3 seconds count, and he's like 1, 2, and then he starts doing this, and like he's not even looking at the play, like, and he's still counting, and I'm going, you're not even looking at the guy in the paint. You're looking at the ball over here. Like, why are you counting? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And he does like a 3 count, doesn't make a call, and you're just like, what amateur hour, man?
Camping in the paint is just,
yeah.
It's like, how did he get there? He was like he was there 4 or 5 seconds ago.
So our video that we went through, I thought both games, it was a long one. Sorry out there. Hopefully everyone out there watched it, because it was an interesting kind of eye opener into some of the things that happen. I think, we can be in danger of just everyone just being like, you're just salty, like just get over it. And yeah, fair enough. There's a little bit of that. But I thought the analysis that we did, like what we looked at, kind of went both ways in looking at what was happening, not just being like, oh, salty, bad calls, these bad calls. Like we're actually looking at it and go, wow, there's a lot of just uncalled travels. A lot of Mitch Norton just elbowing people like on and off the ball. A few like, just bang plays where you're like, okay, that's part and parcel of refereeing a game. But I think there's some fundamental stuff there that, goes missing and really has a huge effect on us. And then to tie it into the, we just start playing hard, and then just like, no, none of this playing hard. There's fouls coming, boys. And then, Tommy V will come out on the floor, and it's just like, you play defense, so you get a foul. It's like, can you just play defense, man? Like, let the guy play defense. Don't just call a foul straight away. And he's like, well, he's a dirty player, so you get a foul type of thing. Like, it was just hard. But what were your thoughts anyway, taken away from that video that we did?
Yeah, the 50-50s go one way more than another. And I would agree with that statement. There was some bad calls on both sides. Don't get me wrong, there's some soft fouls on both sides. But a lot of off-the-ball play by Perth in setting screens and getting caught in a lot of space. There's a lot of moving screens. There's a lot of illegal screening. There's a lot of holding the players, a lot of hooking. Mooney hooks down low, something fierce, and never gets called. Blanchfield travels. Mooney travels.
Wagstaff travels.
And I don't know what the refs are looking at. Like, it's just... And then Jarrell Martin will take... Like, it just seems like, okay, on the catch... I don't know. Jarrell Martin takes like a half step, and it's just like travel right there, call, bang.
Yeah, I saw it, boys. Eagle eyes. I saw it. Yeah, give me high five. I saw that. Also, Jarrell will go inside, and it's just like, wow, that's a foul. Wow, that's a foul. Whoa, we finished through a lot of contact. Like, can he get to the line at all ever? No, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, and Casper's notorious for just getting absolutely pummeled between people and very rarely getting called in the act of shooting as well, which is which is pretty funny. And then sometimes, it just seems some games they'll be just like, and the Hawks will play, Southeast Melbourne, and there'll be like 10 fouls the whole game, and there'll be some pretty hard contact, and just, oh yeah, boys, let's have a good game tonight. And then Sydney play Perth, and it's just foul after soft foul after Bryce Cotton throwing himself around for no reason. Todd Blanchfield jumping after any contact about 2 seconds later, like, yeah, that's a foul. And then Craig Moller just getting pushed out of the way and just like, yep, no.
Geordie just getting pushed into the stands under the basket, and they're just like, no, I didn't see anything there, boys. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and have a quick watch. Obviously, it's a bit late now. We've just played Perth at home. You kind of would have expected, let's see what happens in this game. And again, I just saw like not great refereeing. Jarrell doesn't shoot any free throws, and a guy who goes basically 5 of 10 inside and can't shoot free throws at all. Casper getting to the line a little bit, 8 of 12, so fair enough. But in general, like 12 free throws for Ware, and then 3 free throws for the rest of the team. And you're just like, what is going on? Just crazy. Tommy V, just quietly, 10 points, 4 of 8. I thought he played pretty well.
Look, Tommy V's an excellent offensive weapon off the bench. I think he's underrated. Great corner pocket shooter. I mean, we had pretty awful game against Perth. Let's be real. I mean, the Salt aside, there was some bad reffing, but we did everything in possibly power to lose that game. And so we, that was just a really poor game of basketball to watch. And you know what? There was some runs that we didn't make, but I think after DJ went down, it was the spiritual end of that game.
Yeah, I thought we played well enough after him going down. Like, to lose a player like that during a game, it must take a real toll on your team and your spirit, your morale. For us to, only score 69 points when Perth only puts up 73. Like, I think if we were really flowing on offense, we didn't have all these injuries, we had a flow going, we probably would have we'd beat them, 90 to 73 or something. Our offense had functioned and we'd beat them. I didn't think Perth particularly played that well. Cotton 9 of 25 on the night. That's kind of the worst I've seen him play this season.
He hasn't played that well, to be completely honest with you, against Sydney. I think the combination of the Diddy and also
he was so good defending him, man. Both, like all 3 games, like watching, that was something where I was just like, I want to see Diddy on, Cotton. And Perth had the schemes kind of to get him off. Like a few times he gets loose, and then he finishes over Moller, finishes over some bigs, and you're just what a shame.
It got him inside. I mean, it's when Bryce shoots 3 threes in 90 seconds and your head goes down and the game's over. But they made him go inside. They made him get to the paint and try and put up these little floaters. And that's not his game. His game is an outside shooter and a fast break kind of layup guy. And that was good to see. It was good to see that they both came out on him, and that then Cotton would find the loose man, but then the loose man would be kind of chastised by an off-ball player, and then they'd lose. And that happened a couple of times. I think that's a really effective scheme for what he's got going on, Bryce Cotton. I think it's fantastic.
And I must admit, though, and in watching all 3 of those games, he didn't really get a lot of the foul calls that the momentum calls that you see him get. So a few times he'd get into the paint and then someone would be on his shoulder. He wouldn't get a call and he'd really, really snatch at a finish. And you'd just be like, whoa, like, this is interesting. Like, if we don't actually get up and foul him or get in a position where you're in his back and he can kind of jump back into you, or the momentum like takes it into a foul situation, I saw him like really snatching at some finishes where you're just like, oh, damn. Like, I've never seen him sort of in this kind of like not being able to finish inside. I thought it was some good scheme, and that high blitz really got it out of his hands. And
this is an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see if FIBA follows the NBA ruling on this, because the NBA is changing the rule for the 22 season, where you're not allowed to actively initiate contact by shooting. So you can go up and shoot, and if a player comes into you and fouls you, but you can't go back into a player and draw a foul, and you can't go forward into a player to draw a foul. So I wonder, because that takes away a lot of the weaponry in these teams and this scheming team, where they kind of, jump into players to shoot. Jeric is one that always does it.
Yeah, he shoots like with his legs almost at 90 degrees, man. It's kind of weird.
Banana. It's kind of weird. Just shoots like a banana.
Yeah, it is, man. And even like low key, like Cotton, few little flops there. Like, you know, it's easy for us to sort of say he was definitely he's one of the best players in the league. There's a lot of like, meh, like, and you're just like, really? Like, do you need to do this to get these calls, or are you just getting the calls type of situation? And then some of these other guys, there was a lot of flopping as well. I thought Blanchfield and even Mooney under the basket, you know, he never gets called for things, and then when he does, he just, oh, come on, that's not a foul, and it's just, you see the replay and he just goes whack and hits someone, and you're like, why are you saying that's not a foul, man? That doesn't make sense. But this Kings team, marred by, you know, Jarrell goes out there, goes into like one of the ropiest attempts at trying to draw a charge, doesn't get the foul. That causes him to fall over, and then Blanchfield lands on him, and they're just like, yeah, you fouled him, mate. And it was just like, what?
It was a block because he was inside the circle.
Yeah.
Could not stand in the way of the path, direct path to the basket.
Unless they deemed that contact wasn't enough to be a foul. But you watch the replay and it's like, there's a lot of contact there. That's probably a foul. If it's a no call, do you then reward the fact that he hits the ground, someone lands on him, and they're just like, well, him landing on you is clearly a foul. And it's like, so you're rewarding the wrong thing either way there.
Yeah, it's interpretation.
It's just like, what? In a crucial part of the game, you know, that's his fourth foul. He has to sit. You know, he has to play in danger. And then Diddy, the same thing. Like, you know, anytime Diddy plays hard defense, it's just like foul. And you're like, okay, so Diddy has to stay in the game with 4 fouls. I think there was a couple of layups. Well, I think there was definitely one layup where he had to basically usher a guy through because he didn't want to try and foul or go up and contest the shot because he knew he'd get a 5th foul and have to sit. And then in that situation, you know, with DJ out, he's the main guy now.
Yeah.
And just quietly, have you seen enough to go, cool. We'll continue to build. That's okay. We can get away with this now. I'm still a little bit like not 100% sold on Diddy just being the guy now on offense.
I do like that he does dish the ball. I'd like to see his vision extend out to the perimeter. It seems like he can, you know, get into the paint and dump off because they all think he's going for the basket, and, you know, you get some weak side baseline cutting. But I would like to see him extend out to like Tommy V or Shawnee Bruce in the corner. Just quietly, the FIBA product is really an inferior basketball product to watch. Is it me, or is it just it is an inferior product? I think that strategically it's 8 minutes less in a game, but that extra foul means that, and the depth of roster means that, you know, for some games you just half the team can't play defense if the refs are like foul trigger happy. You're just like, well, this is stupid. Like, what is this? It's just like, okay, you've got an injury. There's 3 players on 4 fouls, and how are you supposed to win a game when you're calling, you know, it's just.
Yeah, I hear. I think I kind of like the FIBA because it's a less high caliber league than like an NBA. Like the NBA has to be ref like that because the athletic explosiveness and how crazy like the athletic ceiling is in that league. Whereas the ceiling in this league isn't that high. So I'm kind of like, okay, like make the league more about craft. But then the 5 fouls, you just like make that 6 fouls. Just make it 6 fouls. Like we don't need a game with 5 fouls. And you know, you probably could make it a 48-minute game. But if it is 40, like don't make it 5 fouls, man. That's one brutal aspect where you're just like, ugh.
Well, it's the brutal aspect that doesn't make sense because you can't commit an intentional foul. So it's
I hate that rule as well.
It is. So you get 5 fouls and you can't commit strategic fouls. So it's just kind of like, well, I mean, there's no strategy to that aspect of the game. And I think that's sometimes a really important part in the NBA. And you look at like when the commentators are going, 30 seconds left, you know, we've got to get him to the free throw line. But you can't. Like, what are you supposed to do? You can't grab him.
Yeah.
And it's an unsportsmanlike. It's just like, this is shit. This product is garbage. This part of the product is crap. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. I hate that too. And the other part is like, sometimes they'll give unsportsmanlikes and you're just like, oh, okay, that was a bit trigger happy. And then sometimes it's like, geez, that could be an unsportsmanlike. That's a bit like Jarrell had one in the Phoenix game where they came right across his face and they're just like, nah, not even going to look at it. He's just like, oh, okay, not fair enough, I guess. Just after they looked at one that I think was going to be an unsportsmanlike foul, and you're like, where's the standards, man? Like, let's get some standards going here. But just talking more about this Perth game, Diddy 13 points, 6 of 13. I think he did well after DJ went down to kind of try and knit something together. Like the season hinges on him staying fit for the rest of the season and doing, he's got to basically go up to 20 points a game if we're gonna get anywhere with Casper and Jarrell. Both of those guys have to be at 20 points a game as well if we're gonna get into the top 4. And his 3-ball is just a bit like, I don't want to see it. Like we've seen against these two Perth games, him like have real success off that, like breaking through the blitz and then playmaking. It's just the other side of that is like, who have we got to playmake for? Like Moller, nah. Newley, nah. Shawnee Bruce didn't score in this Perth game. Geordie Hunter, like as much as, he's developed a little bit, sometimes he just doesn't know where he is on a roll sometimes. And you're like, Geordie, like pay attention. What are you doing?
I did see in this game, he did get yanked by 40 for something stupid. And he was so angry as well. I'm just like,
yeah, he's a tough one, man, because he is the quintessential second year player. Where you're like, that's so second year player, like what he's doing on the basketball court. Like it's not a DJ situation where you're like, wow, what a gem, like what a gem of a rookie. It's his first season. He's playing like a 5th year type of, like one of the best players in the league. This is great. But for Geordie, like he really is at that level of I'm second year and this is how I play. And I don't want to rag on him because I like him. He guts it out. He tries hard. He's not a dirty player. He's not like crazy out of control. Like he's not going to injure anyone out there because he doesn't have that kind of crazy streak in his game. But just the awareness is like on rolls, like he's not looking on rolls. He'll screen the wrong side sometimes and then roll, and you're like, nobody can pass to you because you just rolled into 2 guys, man. Like what are you doing? And then if you're going to utilize his power, like his strength, because he's a big guy and he can screen, he has to set like good screens. And he just doesn't. And then when he does, it's like, foul. Like, sit down, Geordie. You can't set screens, mate. Like, what are you doing? Anyone who just wants to flop on Geordie, run into him and you get a foul. Thanks. Like,
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So it must be tough for him, too, on that flip side. Tommy V's the same, where I think Tommy V's got a little bit more awareness as a role player. Like, if you were to substitute Geordie's minutes for Tommy V, you probably would get I think you'd probably get a better 20 minutes out of him. Do you feel like that? I mean, you're pretty high on Tommy V, but do you feel like that?
I'm high on Tommy V because Tommy V can slink out to the corner. He kind of tries hard, and it's probably not costing us a shit ton of money. So it's
but
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
true. I don't think Geordie is either, though.
Well, I don't think Geordie is, but I think Geordie's got that kind of pivotal role, and I think this really ties into the fact that we don't have a backup big. I mean, kick it.
And that the big that's like you're one of the best 10, like a Jarrell Martin level big. Like if we had 2 Jarrell Martins, it'd be great.
Yeah, but Jarrell Martin's not a big. He's a power forward, and it's evident on the defensive end. He cannot defend the 5, and that's maybe why his time was limited in the NBA, or he didn't really get a start because his scoring prowess is there, but his defensive capabilities to guard 4 and 5 are limited by size. Because if you've got any kind of craft as a 5. Mooney just hammers it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Jarrell just turning around as someone lays it in, and you're like, oh, Jarrell, that's you really need to come over and help on defense there. But
and that's really what it's about. We don't have a backup big. Kickett's production as a shooter, which has been the most disappointing part, has dropped significantly.
He's done, man. I think I said it. I made the claim. I was like, I think you're done, man. I think this is it. Yeah, it sucks, but it sucks to say and it sucks to be a realization. But I don't think if we're gonna go forward next season, his spot needs to be taken up by someone who's a 3rd choice big in the mold of Hunter. Like you replace what Hunter is with the top quality big, and then you have Hunter as the supplemental player, and then just kick it out.
Yeah. Hopefully we do go back to 3 imports next year. I think that'll be important when stadiums are back at really full capacity and no one's too worried. But yeah, that's really the issue, is that really we don't have a defensive. So as soon as Geordie goes down with 3 fouls in 7 minutes, we really have nothing to protect the rim, nothing to defend the 5, and then 5s go to work. And Melbourne will go to work, Luala Chul, Mooney goes to work, the good bigs go to work, and that's where we're struggling. Is how do we do that? 1 through 3, I think we're doing pretty good, and I think we've got a competitive lineup. But I think it's really that, okay, Geordie's got 3 fouls, and we're in, halfway through the second quarter. We really need to either outscore this team significantly or hope that they're just, we can somehow mount a defensive stance against them, because otherwise it's game over. And we've seen that kind of time and time out. So yeah, it's a tough year obviously because of COVID and the restrictions on players, but that's maybe why it's been. And as well, I think for an older body like Kickett and Newley, it was a long time out of the game with no basketball to then come back up to that peak level. You know what I mean? Like
Newley, I'm a little less worried about, but Kickett, you can tell is like it's it. Like I'm just looking at his numbers. 21 of 51 on the season, 41% field goal, 26.1% from three. Like that's unacceptable for him, for a player that he's got to give us 2 a night, probably make 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That's a real worry.
That is a worry.
Newley, I'm less worried about, but I think Kickett's in that drop-off spot where it's like you'll just be naturally dropping out of the team. Other thing too, you just were talking about then is ability to bring players in to fix a team. We lost like huge players, and then to not be able to replace them, like whether we were able to, whether we weren't able to, that's a tough ask, man, to lose a Bogut, Tate, and the coach, and then just be like, you know what, we're bringing in the same caliber center, the same caliber inside power forward, and a top quality coach. Like that's, I guess, where we started the season, kind of being like, oh man, I'm worried about this season. It could be bad. We've done quite well though. So this Perth game, that was just an abomination to finish. Casper shooting that 3 where you were just like, no, Cass, what are you doing? Like you've just gone inside, made a couple of buckets. Really, again, like this is not the first time it's happened either. Where you're like, oh, he's gone inside again. And he shoots a 3 and misses it and we lose. And you're just like, why did you do that? Like, what are you doing? It's brutal. So we've just got to ride that out. The Southeast Melbourne game we'll talk about now. I thought we played quite well at the start of this game. It was one of those games where, we start doing what we do best, get out in transition, play quickly, shot the ball well. Casper hit a couple of 3s to start the game. Shawnee hit a couple as well. But then we kind of get into this rut of just, the opposition makes an adjustment, and then now the ball's in our court to change our offense and play a little bit more dynamic offense, and we just go, we don't know how to solve this. Like, what do we do? And we've seen it in loads of games this season where second and third quarter our offense just dies. 25 points to start the game in the first quarter, 21 points in the second, and then 19 and 19 to finish. It's a struggle, man. And that's basically, without DJ's the next best thing. He took 10 shots in this game, 3 of 10. This is where and he had 7 dimes, so admittedly that's a good night for him in terms of facilitating the ball. Casper Ware had none. But at the same time, like asking Didi to score and take, 16, 17 shots a game, I don't think it's going to yield, man. I haven't felt it at all since he's been here that like this is going to yield now. And have it like he's gonna put up 20 in one of these games, like consistently.
You look back to last season and think, shit, how did we get that team last year? Like, you know what I mean? Like 2 NBA caliber players, and I think that Diddy hasn't hit the potential that we thought he would on the scoring front. Like, remember that first game we went and saw him at Illawarra in that preseason game where he dropped 30, and we're just like,
just dominated. Yeah, absolutely dominated. And was like they were dropping from everywhere. He got injured not long after that though, didn't he?
Yeah, he's had lower back problems and he had ankle issues, but it's just never kind of hit that peak again. And these games are kind of he needs to be shooting at least 50% from the floor. Like, I mean, we can't. Even if he's going inside to get, he's got to be 5 from 10. Casper's another one we just like, it's inconsistent, and that can't be your start. Like Joel Martin is consistent. He's going to put up 16 to 20 points a night. He's going to grab some boards. He's going to make some mistakes on defense, but he's going to give you a lot better offense. Casper is really hit and miss.
That's
and
brutal, isn't it?
in important parts of the games, he's just not converting this season. And that's where the line's drawn. There's been 4 games where really we should have won 1 or 2 of them based on the fact that, all right, Casper's got the ball down the stretch. This is a winnable game. And he takes a shot and misses. And that's happened 4 times now. Yeah, it's tough to stomach that maybe some of these players are not at the peak that they were in their careers in the NBL. And that's mostly evident this season.
Just the feeling of, we've got a reliable guy at the end of the game. Like, it's all right, guys. Like, give the ball, Casper will get you a bucket. Like, I don't even feel like that this season.
No.
Last year, I kind of, you felt it a little bit. This season, it's like, we're rolling the dice, and if it works, like, we're going to go jump off our seat and go, yes, how great is this? But I still just don't get that feeling of like, down the stretch of some of these games, we're like, we're going to pull it out of the fire. Because it's just like licorice all sorts. And we've got guys who do certain things well. And you go, all right, pieces of the puzzle that fit, and you do this, and then that guy does that well, so you do that, and then this guy can do this, and then you put him there and you do that. But then when you put it all on the court, you kind of just go, well, this guy's shooting threes and he should be cutting to the hoop. Like, this guy's taking threes when you don't want him to take threes. This guy can't score the ball any other way than a 3, yet we're tossing it inside to him, and you're just going like, this is like, it's all over the place. And the easiest thing to do from here is to go 40. 40's the source. But I don't even feel like that. Like, I'm not even going, this team is badly coached. Like it's not gays. Like, we're not entering like gays territory where you were just watching those games going, God, this team is badly coached. And you can tell it's badly coached. Like 40, I'm like, he's doing some pretty decent stuff with like a roster that's running on fumes. But they're still just, they make some bad decisions, man. And you just like sitting there scratching your head sometimes. And I get it. Like, there's a lot of outpouring after these games of just, Casper's not good enough. And I hate that he has to always build up his credit in the bank every game. He has one good game and then he has 3 bad ones. And he's got to have another good game before he can, get some more credit back. And then I think there's just some players in this team where if you're not making them do the easy thing all the time, then, they're kind of useless. And it's like if an opposition goes, oh, we're going to put this guy under pressure by doing this, and then that player doesn't seem to go, oh, well, I'll just do this now. That player seems to just go, oh, boys, I got to come out. I don't know what to do. Sorry. Like, and that's, it's your Hunters. It's kind of your Mollers in some aspects, and Kickett, which is a shame because he's kind of old. And there's nothing much you can really do about that. And it's a little bit newly this season. Whereas, he'll shoot threes and you're just going like, don't, like one dribble, pull up 3, Brad. Like, go to the hole, man. Just drive the ball all the time. I don't care if it's like you're 1 of 12 and all of those are drives. Like, just do it the entire time because it pushes our team. It pushes the pace, creates some space for other people. Like, it's the opposite effect of the shooting space, like creating space on the floor as being a shooter. Like, he can create space on the floor by guys having to collapse on him all the time. He can kick it out. He could score. He could do whatever he kind of can, but he just doesn't even take them. And you're like, oh, that's worse.
If he's taking it to the hole, he kind of, it affects the long rebound, and the teams can't get out on a fast break. I think that's the problem. If you get these long threes that he takes and these massive rebounds, and 2 of our guys are in the pockets, then it's a 3-on-2, and you're losing in the fast break situation. Whereas when he tries to get to the cup, at least he's in front of everyone and the ball's there, and you can kind of get the breakdown in the half court. That's really been the season in a nutshell. Is that we've had glimpses of awesome. With an underlying tone of not much expectation, followed by just huge injury issues. And there's nothing much you can do about it but say, well, there's some good that comes out of that. We know what we need to change next season. Hopefully there's a 3rd import spot. Can we recruit a good Aussie? Thornmaker.
Yeah, bring Thorn or Jonah, somebody. We need a big so bad, man, a rim protector.
Yeah, maybe DJ can just get Thorn out here.
He's looking pretty good at the moment as well.
He's looking pretty jacked. Bring on, that last day. If he doesn't get a 10-day, bring him for the stretch.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. But yeah, that's really the realisticness of it. So yeah,
it's a hard, man. It's a hard situation to be in. Like, nobody wants to watch a team like this go through the injury troubles, but at the same time be at a level where it's just unacceptable. At the same time, it's like I don't want to rag on this team because they're going through some crazy adversity, but at the same time, there's some things where you're just like, guys, we're going to knit this together. So hopefully, looking at Didi, like where Didi is at the moment, he's got a huge role now in the next like 6 to 7 games, really to come together and be that 22 point ignite scorer. And I think for his own career too, like he's now got to make that statement. Like the keys are on you, Didi. So I'm looking to him over the next 3 to 4 weeks. He's going to have some big games that are coming up. Yeah, 3-2-1s. We didn't do 3-2-1s, did we? For Perth, what do you got?
That Perth game's hard. I'm going to go DD3. I think he defended exquisitely. And, oh, God, we're on that.
Yeah, tough.
It's Jarrell 2, Casper 1.
Yeah, I'll go the same. Martin, where? And then in this Phoenix game?
That's a good question. Jarrell 3, Casper 2. I'm going to go Shawnee B. 1.
Yeah, Shawnee did play quite well.
Okay.
Where Martin, Bruce. Yeah, shout out to everyone as well doing the fan MVP, 3-2-1 MVP. Get in on it after every game. Even though we're losing games, it's still tough, but we still want to kind of get some more interaction this season. So, yeah, make sure you get on those posts.
Now, can we finally announce the big prize?
For tipping?
For tipping.
Yeah, if you want to do it.
So, I have, on top of the King's Dime t-shirt, is it the Kevin Lish stud shirt?
Yeah, the Kevin Lish stud shirt.
The inaugural Kevin
Actually,
Lish
I may actually have to dig out that artwork. I don't know if I lost it in the great hard drive crash.
The great hard drive crash of 2021.
I may have to dig it out.
We may have to do some other things. Maybe we'll put out an NFT instead.
Oh,
Could have an NFT. Signed Jarrell Martin NBA card.
Schmick. So yeah, tipping. The winner of the tipping comp will get that signed Jarrell Martin card.
It's on card signature, so it's not a sticker. It's his rookie card. It's also patched, so it's got some of his memorabilia. And yeah, man. So that's
and suddenly we're gonna have like 30 people now entering the tipping comp. Can we get a hold of that?
So yeah, that's I thought I'd bring the action half season and give this to the lucky winner. So yeah,
good stuff. Speaking of tips, let's do round 14. Round 13 hasn't finished yet. There's still another game tomorrow. And then Melbourne have just won. Spoiler alert. Hopefully you're not watching at home getting spoiled by that game. And then there is another game, tomorrow. And then Wednesday, the next round starts. Like straight away. Bang, bang. Have some more games, everyone. Want some more games with your games? So yeah, make sure if you're out there, you're watching, listening, Wednesday is definitely the day to get those tips in. To start the round, it will be the Taipans versus the 36ers. We did these last week, but I screwed this up.
I think it's changed. I'm going to go 36ers.
It's changed? You go on 36ers?
I'm going 36ers. I would have gone Types before.
It's Kings at home to Southeast Melbourne, so another chance to avenge our loss.
I'm going to go Southeast Melbourne.
Ooh, I'm staying with the Kings. New Zealand at home to Brisbane. Well, Silverdome, sorry. Brisbane. We went New Zealand before Briz. I'm going Briz as well. Perth at home to Illawarra.
I'm going to go the
Hawks. I'm going to stick with Perth because they're going to play tomorrow. And they're probably going to bounce back. They're doing no, it's back in Perth. Yeah, no, I'll stay with Perth. Southeast Melbourne at home to Adelaide.
Southeast Melbourne.
I will also go Southeast Melbourne. Kings at home to the Types.
Kings
for me also. Melbourne United will then play the Hawks at home. To the Hawks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go United.
Yeah, you went Hawks before. a little cheeky. Try to sneak one in there. Perth at home to New Zealand to finish out the round on Sunday.
Perth.
Yeah, Perth for me too. And that's, tipping for this week. Now, it's been a pretty long one, but do you want to just quickly talk Phoenix and Taipans? I mean, we've done a bit of a eulogy for this team, a bit of a preemptive eulogy on calling time on this team for this season. But
I'm not calling time. I'm calling that there needs to be a little bit of change. I think in the rosters, bit of a changing of the guard. Maybe Kickett's minutes descend into zero. Play Newley
play 6, shorten the rotation to 6, and Kickett doesn't get any minutes.
Play Newley at the 5. I don't know, man. It's really a shame we didn't have Dengakuth still in this, in this roster. I think there just needs to be some changes on the floor. You can't put lineups with Moller, Kickett. There's just some lineups we just like, and where is the offense going to come from? And I think really Jarrell Martin or Casper Ware needs to be on the floor at all times, either or.
Casper did play 38 minutes against the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to ask, especially on a backup week.
Sorry, 38 against Perth and then 37 against the Phoenix. Wow. Yeah. But I guess, we're shorthanded. I'd like to see Tommy, man, get 20 minutes and Jordan come off the bench, maybe get 12, like switch that around a little bit. Because I think Tommy V's effectiveness as a roller, I think is a lot better than Hunter. And he sets good screens. The issue is both of those guys. It's just like soon as there's any kind of, physicality, they just get reffed off the floor, and you're like, well, whatever. Like it's one or the other. But again, Geordie has put together a couple of games where you're just like, yeah, it's good enough, but at the same time, you still got to improve. So that's much of a muchness, I think. Like if one of those, Tommy V can shoot a 3 from the corner. His security blanket 3 at the end of the half, like every time they go to him in that corner. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
If Geordie could shoot a mid-range or something like that, it might be a little bit better. He's still kind of going into his bag for these like little scoops and hooks, and you're a bit like, ooh, nah, I just don't trust that at all. And then Shawnee B, like this whole, like now that DJ's out, Shawnee B is back to like, you're in the lineup now. The starting lineup. Like there's that whole dynamic again at from the start of the season where you were just like, I don't like Shawnee starting these games. Like doesn't really work. And then with the form Newley's in, like maybe there's a Moller into the starting lineup, maybe.
Yeah, Diddy at the 2 and Moller at the small forward. Tommy V at the 4 and Jarrell at the 5.
Yeah. Still, it's gonna be rough, man. I think we strap in, get the
last 12 games of the season.
Seatbelt. We're going to have to put the seatbelt on. The captain's going to come over the thing as, we're hitting some turbulence to end the season.
I think it's 20 rounds, so we've got 6 rounds left.
Is it 20 rounds?
22, 21 or 22.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think you said there's about 150 games all up or something, wasn't it?
186 games. I think there's 36 games each. So what are we at, 24?
Yeah, we're at... What are we? I did have it here. Where did I have it? Why didn't I just have that there? Where's the standings? The season ladder. We are at 10 and 12, so 22 gone. So 14 to go. We'll do our half yearly, I think, very late. This season is a bit of a hard one to kind of really scrutinize. I think we'll do that. We'll talk about, go in depth, eulogize a little bit more on this team. But hopefully, man, we can find some offensive spark. I think that's going to be the big issue going forward down the stretch of this season. And we've got some games coming up to try and work that in. And as always, I think that's it. We got it. We're done. As always, we are live right now on Facebook. We also put these up on YouTube. If you want to watch these back and replay on YouTube or Facebook, you can do that. And we'll put these up in audio format on the Anchor platform. So it goes out to Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Also, and yes, thanks, like and subscribe to everything, and thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time
on the King's Dome.